Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending today's webinar, QA plus AI, How Perfecto Scriptless Makes Test Automation More Intelligent. Before we begin, I'd like to cover 3 housekeeping items for our viewers. First, at the bottom of your audience console, you'll find a number of widgets for questions and additional resources. When you have questions for the presenter during the presentation, click on the Q&A widget and submit your question. We will answer as many questions as possible at the end of the demo, and if we run out of time, we will get back to you via email. Second, if you need any tech support during the webinar, please use the help option. Third and finally, a copy of today's slide deck is available in the resources section at the bottom of your screen. We will also email you a link to the recording within the next few days. With that, I will introduce our presenter for today, Nina Sprengler, Sales Engineer here at Perfecto by Perforce. Nina, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining today. My name is Mina, and I'm a sales engineer for Perforce, Perfecto's parent company, and I primarily focus on our scriptless platform. So our agenda for today, we will go over opportunities and challenges for business testers, common causes of insufficient web testing, and why scriptless intelligent test automation. We'll follow with a demo of the platform. The business tester. Using scriptless intelligent test automation, you can enable the business tester within your testing team. Automating test cases requires development and can take a long time for developers and non-developers alike. With the scriptless platform, you are enabling your business tester to create scripts in the same way they would manually test as an end-to-end user. This not only saves you time, but allows you to increase test coverage by enabling people who aren't usually involved in your test automation, who have different ideas and are experts in their business flows and can provide you more coverage. 3 causes of insufficient web testing. Inadequate test cases. Test cases are difficult to determine, create, and prioritize. So with intelligent automation, anyone, anywhere with any skill set can create tests within scriptless. Unavailable environments. Because scriptless is a web-based SaaS solution, you can access all the most popular browsers and the latest versions at a click of the mouse. You can also expand your coverage by having access to run parallelly within our cloud. Environments on demand help you optimize your test cycle, and it can fit in with the way you work using your CICD pipeline. Testing delays. You can speed up test cycles with using scriptless by enabling your business testers. Some ways scriptless intelligent automation can help you includes increasing your test automation coverage scenarios through enabling your business testers who can then complement your code-based testing, reducing your time spent on test maintenance with our self-healing machine learning algorithm, and easy and fast text creation means faster test automation. And you can also enhance your CI pipeline with our connection to your cloud. So where does scriptless fit in with your org structure? You have SDETs who can enhance test automation and coverage via coding using traditional Selenium. You have developers who can accelerate your feedback and execution using frameworks such as Cypress. But now you have business testers who can move from manual to automation with no code using scriptless, and this can increase your speed and test robustness. This plays off the last slide a bit in showing where scriptless can fit within your already established test automation team, but it also showcases how Perfecto as a whole is what we call tech agnostic, and it can integrate well and play nicely with many of the different frameworks and tools already out there. So Perfecto scriptless key features. Now, this is a really great overview slide, and as Shelby said at the beginning, you will get a copy of this deck. So these are some of the things that I'll actually go over in the demo, but here's a good visual of everything that we will cover today. Some key pillars of scriptless before we get to our demo are easy and fast text creation, easy and fast test execution, and our test reporting platform. A cool thing to mention is that you can have all your reporting and metrics in one place. So whatever your SDET is working on and your developers are creating, as well as whoever you enable to use with scriptless, all their test reports can be integrated into our platform so you can have everything in one place. So here are some screenshots of our platform. So this kind of shows you the canvas mode. But again, we're going to go through all of this in the demo. So these are just kind of for you to have so you remember what you saw today. So this is the on the fly mode. We'll talk about a machine learning algorithm and how that helps you self-heal and, so you don't waste time on test maintenance. This is, how your tests are organized within our platform. And we'll also go into our AI-driven reporting and analysis. So with that, I will begin our demo. Let me share my screen. All right, can we see my screen? I think so. Okay, great. So this is Perfecto Scriptless. And so we're a web-based SaaS solution, so there's virtually no startup effort on your end. There's no plugins, there's no downloads, there's no installs. You'll get a login and a password to your cloud instance, and you'll begin to build your web tests here. So once you come in here, you'll see it's organized by projects. So if you have multiple URLs, you can house, each site into a different project. So for today, just to show, a little bit of test creation, we'll do maybe finding a vaccine near you. So I'll call this vaccine finder. And we'll automate finding a vaccine. So we'll do this URL. And here's where you can choose the platform you begin to test on. So you can choose any of these browsers. We also have Safari. I know you don't see it here, but we're on the demo cloud, and I believe that'll be rolled out in a matter of weeks. So here's where you can start building your tests. And I'll start building on Chrome on this resolution. And even though you start building on one, as I'll show later in the demo, you can expand across multiple browsers as well. So we'll start building test. And right now it's spinning up a VM on AWS, and then it's accessing, the Windows machine we chose as well as the browser we selected in the resolution. So now it will point to the URL. Perfect. So now when we get here, you can start building your automated tests in the same way that you would manually test or click through as an end-to-end user. So let's say I want to find a COVID vaccine near me. I can click on this element, and here it will show you the top, I think, 3 to 5 most used actions per element to identify. So this one would be click. This one is, if you want to validate element text. If you want to validate that an element's present, you can also hover. And then there's a number of different, more robust actions you can perform on any single element. So for this flow, we'll just click through and go through finding a vaccine. So on this page, it asks us to type in a zip code. So here it identifies that we do have a text box here and we do type into it. So you can either begin typing on your keyboard or you can click into here. And you can rename the text box so it's easier for you to reuse that element, and you can send in the keys. So I am in Minneapolis, so I'll put a Minneapolis zip code in here. And now we can search for a vaccine. So now it'll bring us to this page and look at all the vaccines around us. Let's say I want to get mine at CVS near me. So I'll click on here and we'll keep clicking once this loads. So check appointment availability. We'll click on this as well and it'll pop out, I believe, to it'll navigate to the CVS page. And let's say this is my test I wanted to test to make sure that it got to CVS. So I'm going to validate that this CVS pharmacy logo is present. and I will add that action there. So now let's say that completes our test case. We can finish and remove the breakpoint at the end to finish our test. And now we can rerun this test, and you'll see that it'll execute the way I told it to. Again, it's going to spin up a VM on AWS. And then it'll navigate to the URL and go through these steps that we created. And on the back end, it's building Selenium scripts. Awesome. And also, so you can see how it's waiting for the page to load. There's automatic wait times built in. I believe the default is 30 seconds, so it'll wait for your elements to load before it, tries to execute on them. And, but you can also change that wait time. So that was our on-the-fly mode, and we saw the test executed. We also have screenshots for each step. It kind of shows you what was happening in each step. And we can also view this on the canvas mode. So the canvas mode is essentially the flowchart of your test. Here you can, disconnect, connect. You can add actions from here. If you don't want to do it on the fly, you could add validations, you could add conditions. You can get as tricky with this as you want. Now from here, let's say I want to build another test in a different project. So that's kind of how I'd show you easy test creation, but let's talk about test reusability as well as go into our machine learning algorithm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new project on a different URL so I can actually manipulate the site to kind of show you how our machine learning works. So we'll name this Wix because it's a Wix site I'm using, and I'll take you through a login flow. And then we'll kind of talk about how the machine learning works as well. So we'll start building test here. So now it's doing the same thing again, spinning up the VM and accessing that URL. Awesome. So here's a Wix site. It's just a simple Wix site that I built for demo purposes. And right here, let's say we want to take us through a simple login flow. Kind of show you, you can click through and log in. And here we can type in our username, type in our password, and log in here. Awesome. So let's say that completes our login flow. So I am going to finish this test here. And now we'll go into test reusability. So now that I have this login created, how can I reuse this test, right? So we'll go into tests here and we'll click add test, and we're going to add a test from canvas mode. And I'll just name this reuse for now, just to show you. So now we're in the canvas mode. What we can do is we can reuse that login test by double clicking, and under here we'll go down and find test. And now a login test pops up that we can reuse. So now that whole flow chart you saw previously in our canvas mode of our login test is now just one step. And so now we'll run this test. And it'll run, and then we can continue to build from on-the-fly mode by reusing this login test that you've already built. So as you'll see here, it'll go through and run our login test, and here's all the steps within our login test that we've already created. And this is useful too, because when you have reusable steps, then if you change something within this test and you've used the login step, it'll change across all those tests that have this step as well. So now we have a breakpoint here, so we can continue building on here. So let's say I want to validate that this shopping cart's present. So I'll verify that this element's present. I'll name this shopping cart, and we'll add that step in here. Awesome. So now I'll finish this test. And what we'll do actually to show off our machine learning algorithm a little bit is we'll go into Wix and we will edit our website and move the shopping cart around and then rerun the test to see if it still identifies our element. And then we'll talk about, I'll explain the machine learning algorithm a little more and why that works or how that works. All right, so here we see our shopping cart. We're going to move it over. Let's move it over to the right. And let's publish this site. Done. Awesome. So now that we've moved our shopping cart over to the right, let's rerun our scriptless test. So we're going to click rerun. And now it's going to go through, our login flow that we already have as a step in there, but then it's at the end, it's going to validate that the shopping cart is present. And since we moved it from left to right, it still should be able to identify that that element is still the same. That's kind of where the intelligence comes in, right? In traditional Selenium, scripts might break. As you can see, our shopping cart was on the right over there, but scripts might break just because they identify by one single attribute. But within our algorithm, we identify by multiple. So shopping cart, we're going to go into settings and we're going to look at weights. So as I was saying, our machine learning algorithm essentially scans the entire page for all the elements, as well as all the attributes associated with that element. So we're looking at the weight of the shopping cart element right now. So instead of just identifying by, let's say, class or ID or href or whatever it could be, it actually considers all of these different attributes when identifying that element. So it shouldn't break if you move, the shopping cart from left to right as you saw, or if you change the color, or, if you make minor tweaks on your UI, your tests and scripts should still be able to run. So the benefit this brings you is, right, a lot of people, I think, spend 30 to 40% of their time maintaining their already built Selenium scripts, and this kind of provides the solution for that, right? So this automatically, with our machine learning algorithm, is able to identify your elements by more than one attribute so that when you do change small things, things shouldn't break. But another way to give you a little more control also is that you can manually bind. So let's say I know I'm going to change my whole UI and do a complete overhaul. There's nothing for, our platform to recognize yet. So in that case, and if you still just want your test to run and not break, you can manually bind, and you can manually bind by CSS, XPath. We also can handle shadow roots. So you have options there. All right. So next, we can talk a little bit about, we'll talk a little bit about jobs and scheduling tests and how to integrate with CICDs. So let's say I name a job the regression job. And here's where I would add a bunch of tests that I created. I only have 2 right now, as you can see, but let's say I add a bunch of tests and this, 600, however many tests are in your regression suite would be added into here. And now once you have this job, these would now execute sequentially once you run from here. You can also schedule these. If you know you want to run regression at Friday at 5 p.m., you can schedule it to do so. And you can also give notifications for it as well. So let's say I do know I want to run at Friday at 5 p.m., but I want to make sure I get an email if any of my tests fails. I can set that up as well. So now I have this channel that I've defined, and I can add also any number of emails. I just added one, but you can add as many as you want. And the execution trigger, so you can determine here, right? It says manual, scheduled, or CICD. So there's not a lot of use cases for you wanting emails for manual, I'm assuming, just because people are building and executing at the same time. So manual might not be a good email notification, or you might get bombarded with emails, but scheduled and CICD might be useful. So if you want notifications that if any of your tests failed, you would do on any severity, but you can choose which tests are important to you and which tests you want emails for. So when you create your tests, as you can see on the left here, it gives you kind of a severity meter that you can actually set. So you can set low, medium, high, critical, right? So let's say I want emails for only critical. I would set my tests to critical, that are critical to me. And then within notifications, I would say when severity is critical, right? And then now if I save this, every time a test that's critical to me fails, I should get an email for it. Now, CICD integration. So this is also nice. We can integrate with your CICD pipeline, so you can execute right off your pipeline that you already have. We integrate, with Jenkins, TeamCity, all of these, as well as if you don't see yours, we give you the command line script as well. So not only can you build and execute, within our platform, you can execute from CICD, you can have it scheduled. There's a number of different ways you can execute. And now we can go a little bit into platforms. So, like I said, we ran on Chrome, but let's say you did want to run on multiple platforms. You can create a platform set. So let's say I want Chrome, Edge, Firefox, and Internet Explorer. And now I have this 4-browser platform set. I can now create and now have. So when I do run my tests, I can either run, my test or my job across these 4 browsers. So now when I run, I can choose my platform set, and what it will do is it will spin up a VM for each of these browsers. So you'll have a VM for Chrome, a VM for Internet Explorer, a VM for Edge, and a VM for Firefox, and these will all execute at the same time. And this is a way you can, scale out as well as speed up your testing. Awesome. So now let's go into test analysis. So this is kind of our smart reporting dashboard, right? So what you'll see here, it's our CI dashboard, is you'll see the job details, or the job that executed, the last build summary, the results of, the past builds to current, as well as the duration of how long each test or job took to execute. So now if we want, to get a little more in-depth view of, each of our tests, or the granular view, we can go into here in our report library, and it'll kind of show you, the tests that executed. And let's say, I wanted to look at our find a vaccine test. Now it gives me screenshots for each of the steps that we went through, as well as you can have video for the test as well, the test execution, so you can watch, the test execute here. And so all of this, though, can be downloaded into a report, and I believe it can either be a report, a PDF, or you can integrate with our API, so you can have it integrated with your pipeline as well. And you can also, report a bug in Jira through our test analysis platform. With that, we also have the live stream. You can actually, watch in live time tests that are happening. And I think that is all I wanted to show. Awesome. So that is kind of what I wanted to show for our demo today. Thank you for watching that, guys. And let's see if we have any questions from the question box.
Yes, we do. The first question from the audience asks, does Perfecto Scriptless support testing of complex web apps?
The answer is yes. Our platform can handle, however your web app is built, as long as you can access it through a URL. Scriptless should be able to handle your application.
Great. The next question from the audience asks, does Perfecto Scriptless support web apps that are hosted on premises?
Again, yes, we can. There's a few ways to handle this, though. The most popular options, I'd say, are either a site-to-site VPN, or we can use Perfecto Connect to access your internal applications as well.
All right, great. The next question asks, how can intelligent test automation help in manual test reduction and business testers empowerment?
Great question. So like I said, you can enable your business testers to create automation in a codeless way. And, this adds your business testers to your DevOps and, automation team, as well as empowers them to, increase your test coverage, as well as your speed to production.
Awesome. Next question asks, in your experience, what is the average time frame for going from manual to automated testing?
This is a bit of a tough one. I'd say this is, kind of dependent on your test scenario or your business case, right? How many tests you have, how robust those tests are. But what I will say is building scripts in Scriptless averages out to be, I think, 4 to 6 times faster than writing in your own Selenium. So it is a relatively quicker turnaround.
Great. It looks like that is all the time that we have for questions today. If we didn't get to your question, or if it is a little bit more specific that it makes more sense to reach out one-on-one, we will get back to you via email. So thank you to our audience for your attendance and your participation today. And thank you, of course, to our presenter, Nina. We hope to see you next time.
Thanks, guys.